You finally picked up. Mom's voice poured through the speaker, thick with that familiar guilt-soaked sweetness. I've been trying to reach you all day. A tight coil twisted inside my stomach. I was working, Mom. It wasn't true. I just didn't have the strength to endure another conversation where my needs were invisible. What are your plans for the holidays? There it was, the plotting undertone hiding behind casual curiosity. I felt my heartbeat speed up. I don't know. Probably the usual family gathering, I said carefully. Well, this year is going to be different. My chest stiffened instantly. What do you mean? I got 4 tickets to Bob Dylan, 3 nights in a row. Just from the number 4, I already knew the math. I wasn't in it. Am I going too? I asked, even though I knew the answer before she breathed it. Well, about that. Actually, we have something important for you to handle. My mouth dried out. What exactly? We need someone to stay with Grandma. Someone responsible. Someone patient. So we figured, so while everyone else goes to the concert, I'm supposed to stay here and take care of Grandma for 3 entire days? Don't exaggerate, she sighed. You're always the one who looks after her anyway, and it's not like you have other plans. A hot, sharp fury rose under my skin, but I kept my voice steady. Were you ever going to ask me? Or did you just assume I would say yes like I always do? I thought you'd be willing. You've always been our dependable girl, the one who puts family first. Mom, I'm an adult, I said, my voice trembling even though I tried to hold it together. I have a life. I deserve to decide how I spend my time, and my answer is no. The silence on the line felt like a vacuum. Aaron, don't be selfish. This is a special trip for everyone. For everyone except me, I snapped. My hand clenched around the phone until my knuckles went pale. I can't believe you're ruining this with your attitude, she huffed. Selfish? I repeated, disbelief striking like a spark. You made all the arrangements and expected me to sacrifice 3 days of my life without even asking. If anything, that's selfish. Enough. Your father will speak to you. Maybe he'll get through to you. Before she could end the call, I said, if you expect me to be the caregiver, then don't expect me to come home at all. I didn't know if she heard me. My relationship with them had always been this. I give, they take. During university, I skipped exam preparation for family obligations. I canceled outings to attend my brother Thomas's matches. My life had been structured around their needs. But things worsened after Grandma fractured her hip 2 years ago. She recovered physically, but her memory faltered. The doctors said trauma can accelerate cognitive decline. My parents and my brother's family, who all lived together, refused to take responsibility. We have jobs, they'd say, excuses disguised as logic, because I worked remotely as a copywriter and lived nearby. The burden automatically fell on me. I became her full-time caregiver, medication schedules, hospital follow-ups, bathing, clothing, monitoring her mood. Every day, I drove back and forth, my life froze in place. Aaron, you've always been closest to Grandma, Mom reminded me once. You'd never abandon her in a facility, right? It was manipulation dressed as sentiment, clean, subtle, and sharp. And while I cared for Grandma, my parents went on cruise vacations. Thomas and his wife went skiing. Their lives remained full, while mine evaporated. That night, my apartment felt smaller than ever, suffocating. Their calls lit up my phone nonstop, all ignored. Thomas texted, "Think of what's best for the family." In this family, what's best always translated to, your happiness doesn't matter. I collapsed on my couch and dialed Kayla. She already knew the pattern. Let me guess, they want to rope you into being the caregiver again? She said. This time I refused, I whispered. I actually said no. Good, she said firmly. You've earned your own life. They don't get to own it. But they keep calling. Dad keeps trying. I'm exhausted. Don't answer. You've made your choice. They're just trying to break you down. Am I being unreasonable? Absolutely not. They need to learn to respect your boundaries. After we hung up, the phone rang again. Dad. This time, I picked up. My answer is still no, I said at once. Aaron, he replied, quiet and composed. We're just asking you to show compassion." "Compassion?" My voice broke. "I've given up everything. You don't respect my time or my life." He paused. "Fine. Then we'll handle the trip separately. But at least come see Grandma in the morning. She's been asking about you." Suspicion flickered, but relief softened it. "Okay, I'll stop by in the morning. But I am not staying for 3 days. Thank you, Aaron." His agreement came too smoothly, and something in me hesitated. But I tried to feel proud. I finally drew a line. The days passed. I continued my daily caregiving routine, medications, bathing, meals, but nobody mentioned the upcoming trip. Strangely peaceful yet unsettling. The night before the concert, I texted, "I'll be there around 11 tomorrow." Mom replied instantly. "Perfect. Aaron, see you tomorrow." I hoped this time would be different. Care, visit, go home. The next morning, I packed Grandma's meds, her favorite tea, audiobooks, and some photos. Things that would delight her. I drove with a feeling of quiet relief. But when I arrived, I noticed immediately. No cars, no voices, too still. The house felt staged. Grandma opened the door slowly, confusion flickering in her eyes. Then it cleared. "Aaron," she breathed, warmth glowing across her face. "You came." "Of course," I murmured, hugging her gently. "Where is everyone?" "They left," she said simply, "to the concert." As planned. A memory flashed 1 month earlier. I walked into her room during her evening medication, and she quickly closed a notebook. "Close the door," she had said. Clear, lucid, absolutely present. "I need to tell you something." Her eyes were sharp, her voice grounded. "I don't have dementia," she said. I froze. The confusion after surgery was temporary. I recovered, but I pretended not to. Why? To see how they'd behave, and how they'd treat you. They speak freely when they believe I don't understand. She pulled a folder from her drawer. "They plan to go to the concerts and leave everything to you." I heard every detail. My blood turned cold. "I've been waiting," she said softly. "This time, we teach them." Her plan was deliberate, calculated, a moment of liberation disguised as compliance. And now, the day had come. I guided her to the living room. Breakfast was still on the table. A note sat waiting. "Dear Aaron," they had carefully laid out instructions, as if I were a hired aide. I stepped into the kitchen and dialed Mom. She finally answered. "Oh, Aaron, so glad you made it. How's Grandma? What were you thinking?" I burst. "How could you do something so cruel after I told you no?" "Aaron, calm down," she cooed, voice dipped in syrup. "We knew you would help us. You always do." "I am not your emergency caregiver," I spit out. "I agreed to visit for a morning, not to be trapped for 3 days. But you're there now, aren't you? You can't just leave her alone. She needs you. This is serious abandonment." My voice turned ice cold. "Do you have any idea what happens when I call the Adult Protective Services?" I heard her gasp. "You wouldn't dare. Try me. If you're not back soon, that's exactly who I'm calling next. Wait." Mom's panic was palpable. "We're still at the venue entrance. The concert hasn't started. Then leave and come back. I'm staying for 1 hour. If you're not here by then, I'm calling the authorities. Aaron, please, 1 hour." I repeated and hung up. Meanwhile, Grandma and I put our secret plan into action. "Have you packed everything?" "Grandmask it." Her eyes sparkled with anticipation for adventure. "Of course," I answered with a smile. "The Florida beaches are waiting for us." Grandma took out an envelope of official documents from her bag. "I wanted to leave before showing you this," she said, handing me the papers. It was her new will. I read it with an expression of astonishment. Her assets, her beach house, considerable savings, and the investment portfolio inherited from Grandpa were all to be given to me. "Grandma, this is words failed me." "The right thing," she said firmly. "I met with a lawyer months ago and showed evidence that they lied about my cognitive abilities. They forfeited their inheritance rights. My parents had been trying to gain control of Grandma's assets by claiming she had dementia, but Grandma was wiser than them. A doctor's assessment proving her clear cognitive state and recordings of my parents' conversations made her new will legally unshakable. By the time we boarded the plane to Florida, my parents would have discovered the empty house and a note. Dear Monica and Douglas, I do not have dementia. Aaron and I are going on a lovely extended trip. The legal proceedings regarding my assets have been completed. With love, Mom. Sitting on the sandy beach, Grandma and I shared the joy of freedom. Finally released from family constraints, we began a new chapter in our lives. After returning from Florida, I spent a quiet morning in my apartment, responding to friends' messages while ignoring the flood of texts from my family. After their betrayal, I needed time and space to heal. But that afternoon, my blood boiled as I scrolled through Facebook. Mom had posted such a disappointing holiday. It breaks my heart when someone abandons their own family. My poor mother was so confused and upset. I never realized how easily family bonds could break. The comments poured in. So sad, Monica. Young people today just don't understand responsibility. Abandoning your own grandma is the worst. Family must come first. Some people just don't get it. My hands shook as I took screenshots. Though she hadn't named me, everyone knew who she meant, and she had completely twisted the truth. Fueled by rage, I crafted my own post. Time for the truth. Yesterday, I visited my family as promised. Upon arrival, I discovered everyone had already left for Bob Dylan's concert, expecting me to care for my grandmother with cognitive issues for 3 days. This was after I explicitly refused them. I threatened to report them for elder abandonment, forcing them to come home. Now I'm accused of not caring about family. The reality? They don't respect my time or boundaries. I am not their on-call caregiver whenever they want entertainment. True family is built on mutual respect, not manipulation and convenience. Hitting post might permanently damage my family relationships, but I needed to speak my truth. With a deep breath and trembling hands, I pressed the button. The reactions exploded immediately. Kayla commented first. So proud of you for standing up for yourself. Then a wave of supportive messages from my friends poured in. That night, my social media account exploded with family backlash. Mom accused me of disgracefully exposing private family matters. Dad told me to act like an adult. Thomas and his wife claimed I was betraying the family. Cousins and distant relatives I barely knew piled on with criticism. Yet, simultaneously, my post spread far beyond my network. Strangers began sharing it with comments like, I've been the family caregiver 4 years too. Blood relation doesn't entitle them to abuse your boundaries, and you did exactly what you needed to do. My phone buzzed nonstop with notifications until I finally turned it off to sleep. The next morning, Kayla's call Wukime. Aaron, this has completely blown up. Your post is everywhere. Several major blogs have picked up your story. What? I rubbed my eyes and grabbed my phone. Notifications flooded my screen. My post had thousands of shares with countless people sharing similar experiences. Online news sites were featuring my story and articles about elder care ethics and family boundaries. I never wanted to go viral. I whispered, overwhelmed by the attention. This wasn't my intention, but your story is touching so many people, Kayla said. What you're describing is something countless others have suffered insolence. That afternoon brought a shocking twist. Mom posted again. I need to set a record straight. My previous post was written in haste. My husband, my son, and his wife and I had unfair expectations of our daughter Erin. We disrespected her boundaries and tried to use her as free elder care. Her response was justified. I sincerely apologize publicly. I stared at my screen in disbelief. Mom never apologized, especially not publicly. The explanation came moments later in a text from Grandma. I had a serious conversation with your mother. Their behavior was disgraceful. They've agreed to publicly apologize to you. However, this isn't enough. They've been exploiting you 4 years. I believe we should consider legal options to address this pattern of abuse. Legal options that seemed extreme. But my perspective quickly shifted. That evening, while ignoring Mom's calls, I opened an email from Dad. What I read made my blood boil. Aaron, we've apologized publicly, but you need to examine your own actions. Threatening elder abuse reports is completely excessive. We just needed a few days of help with your grandmother. Your dramatic overreaction has humiliated our entire family. You are no longer welcome at family gatherings, Dad. My hands shook with rage. Their public apologies were completely hollow. They still blamed me and were even trying to cut me out of the family. Immediately called Grandma. Grandma, look at this email Dad just sent me. Her voice hardened with anger when I read it to her. This is outrageous. They haven't learned a thing. Aaron, we need to consult with a lawyer immediately. This is clear harassment. Following Grandma's advice, I met with a family law attorney the next day. She listened attentively to my story and explained that the situation was more serious than I had realized. Ms. Hartfield, this goes well beyond a family disagreement. Attorney Olivia Morrow said gravely, the behavior of your parents and brother and his wife constitute psychological harassment. The public defamation on social media could be considered libelists, and the abandonment of your grandmother raises serious elder abuse concerns. Should I really take legal action against my own family? I asked, feeling the weight of the decision. Let's begin with a formal warning letter. We'll inform them that continued harassment will result in legal proceedings. I agreed, and Attorney Mororo sent formal warnings to my parents, brother, and his wife. But instead of calming things down, this only poured gasoline on the fire. After receiving the letters, Mom went on the warpath. She posted that I was an ungrateful daughter trying to sue her own family who only wanted help with her sick grandmother. Dad publicly called me emotionally unstable and insisted my claims were wildly exaggerated. Thomas and Faith joined the attack, labeling me an attention seeker and declaring my story pure fiction. Their vicious response left Menacois. I met with my lawyer again and made the painful decision to file a lawsuit for defamation and emotional distress. Ms. Hartfield, I know this isn't easy, Attorney Morrow said gently, but it's necessary to protect both you and your grandmother. The day we filed the lawsuit, my emotions were in complete turmoil. Despite everything, these people were my family. But their actions weren't just a one-time mistake. They represented years of exploitation and disrespect that I could no longer ignore. Grandma Beatrice was my rock throughout the process. She not only supported my decision, but offered to testify, revealing how she had been mentally documenting the family's treatment of me for years. I pretended my memory was worse than it is, she confessed. I wanted to see who truly cared about me versus who saw me as a burden. The legal battle dragged on for months, completely shattering whatever remained of our family relationships. My parents, brother, and his wife refused all contact, while extended family members were forced to choose sides, most aligned with my parents in the name of family loyalty. But Grandma and a few others stood firmly with me. The case moved forward faster than expected. My lawyer methodically presented evidence of the years-long pattern, the concert day incident, and the vicious social media campaign that followed. Grandma's testimony proved devastating to my parents' case as she revealed with crystal clarity how they'd systematically taken advantage of me for years. The most damning evidence came from the social media posts and private messages from my parents and brother and his wife. Their own words exposed their malicious intent and harassment more effectively than anything else could have. The judge ruled decisively in my favor, issuing a restraining order against my parents and brother and his wife, awarding substantial damages for defamation and emotional distress, and ordering them to publicly retract their false statements about me with a court-approved apology. The court finds that the actions of Monica Hartfield, Douglas Hartfield, Faith Hartfield, and Thomas Hartfield constituted clear harassment of Aaron Hartfield and caused severe emotional distress. The judge declared firmly, family relationships must be founded on mutual respect, and the defendants have fundamentally violated this principle. Additionally, their abandonment of Beatrice Hartfield, despite her cognitive challenges they themselves emphasized, demonstrates a disturbing disregard for elder welfare. Leaving the courtroom, my heart felt both lighter and heavier simultaneously. I'd won my case and defended my boundaries, but the cost was losing half my family forever. You did exactly what was necessary, Grandma whispered, squeezing my hand with surprising strength. Some wounds may heal with time, but you must never compromise your dignity or self-worth for anyone, even family. In the months following the verdict, their lives were transformed dramatically. The case had been covered extensively in local media, devastating their carefully cultivated community reputations. Dad was forced into early retirement from his accounting firm after 30 years, when clients began requesting different representatives. Mom resigned from her executive position at the marketing company when colleagues stopped including her in meetings. Their social circle shrank rapidly as former friends distanced themselves from the scandal. Thomas and Faith's real estate investment business suffered immediate consequences. Potential clients researched them online only to find stories about elder abandonment and harassment. Within 6 months, they were forced to sell their luxury home and downsize dramatically. Meanwhile, Grandma moved in with me. Together, we renovated my small apartment to accommodate her needs while preserving her independence. With her encouragement, I enrolled in creative writing courses, finally pursuing my long-held dream. 1 year later, my life had transformed completely. With Grandma's support, I reduced my copywriting hours to focus on my first novel while taking advanced writing classes. Grandma, thriving in our shared home, had started a small online community for seniors exploring their creative talents. The pain of family betrayal still occasionally surfaces, but I remind myself that my decisions were necessary. I won't make space in my life for people who see me as nothing but a convenient caregiver. I told Kayla during one of our regular coffee dates. It sounds harsh, but protecting myself was essential. Though the wounds will never completely heal, I walk forward with confidence. Grandma and I have created our chosen family based on mutual respect and love. Our story serves as a powerful reminder that exploitation, even from family, should never be tolerated.